Hey, what is going on guys? My name is Chris and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my ways in which I'm going to be planning to grow my wealth. Now this channel is all about personal finance and investing, and basically with a combination of those two, I'm going to be sharing with you the ways in which I'm hoping to grow my wealth. So I always talk about my retirement and how I'm going to retire a millionaire, all that kind of good stuff. But actually I'm going to be sharing with you a few of the ways in which I'm thinking I'm going to be able to do that over the next 30 to 40 years. I'm going to be sharing with you the ways in which I'm going to do it, and hopefully how one day I will become that millionaire that we all want to be, right? So if that is something you think will tickle your fancy, something you might enjoy, then why not stick around and enjoy today's video. But before you do, please, as always, drop a like down below, leave a comment, and if you fancy it, and if you like the videos and check out some more, there's plenty on here, subscribe as well. We've just surpassed 150 subscribers now. To a lot of people, that is a very small number. To me, that is amazing. So 150 is a step in the right direction, and we keep growing. And thank you so much to the people who left a comment, liked and subscribed based on my most recent video about me selling my stocks. Actually one of the most successful videos I've had on my channel, so I really do appreciate it. So let's keep that momentum going, let's keep growing. So make sure to drop a like, leave a comment. It really does help out a small channel like mine. But without further ado, let's start sharing with you how I'm going to become wealthy. Okay, so strategy number one is going to be, obviously, you guessed it, stock market investing. Now, it's no stranger to stock market investing on this channel. That is kind of what we talk about, investing in the stock market. And it's clearly a simpler way of increasing your value, increasing your wealth over a long period of time. It's been tried and trusted across years and years and years and years of worth of data and market analysis to prove that by investing over a long period of time into things like the S&P 500 can and will increase your wealth over a long period of time. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. So for the next 30 to 40 years at least, I'm planning to consistently invest into the stock market, and specifically into ETFs, mainly the S&P 500. So with that in mind, we've got a little compound interest calculator to kind of calculate where we could be at in 40 years time. So in 40 years time, I will be the grand old age of 63. Yeah, I'm only 23, so I've got plenty of time, right? So 63, you're thinking that actually at the moment, the UK national average age of retirement is like 67. And who's to say in 40 years, that could be 75, 80 potentially. So 63 is not bad going. So with that in mind, let's look at a little compound interest calculator that we've got in here to calculate how much towards my big wealth that I'm looking towards, the millions of pounds that I'm hoping that one day I'll have, how much my ETFs and stocks will contribute towards that. So looking at the compound interest calculator here, I've basically taken the whole £680 that I have invested in today's market in the S&P 500, which is a whole £680. It's not massive, but it's more than I had a year ago. So a step in the right direction. So I'm going to take that £680. I'm obviously going to add the 40-year time period in there. I'm going to basically, there's lots of numbers that fly around out here about the average return of the S&P 500 and all those kind of things, but I'm going to take 7%. I think people float around the 9% rule, but it just if you're inflation and lots of things, but I'm going to take sort of the pessimistic view, the conservative view of standard 7%. So 7% return over 40 years. And now what I plan to do and what I've got set up in my Trading 212 account is a auto invest feature. So investing £250 each and every month into the S&P 500. So adding that into our calculations. And we're obviously going to adjust for inflation as well. So we're going to put 2% in there just as a guideline. That could be more, could be less, but it just gives us a ballpark figure of where we'd be at. And so if we start to add all that information out and we press calculate, these are the numbers we come out with. So the final investment would be over £850,000. But bear in mind, I've only contributed £181,000 into that fund. The rest is done by our good friend Compound Interest. We've always talked about it. We see it in lots of videos here on YouTube. Compound Interest really is our best friend. Compound Interest has contributed a whole £669,000 worth of that £850,000. And that is really not even rocket science, is it? It's just me putting £250 each and every month into the market. And so that is the first way in which I'm hoping to grow my wealth. It's really passive, very simple and really easy to do. Really can be set up in sort of 10-15 minutes, and then all you've got to do is remain consistent, not be fearful, just be consistent and invest in the market. There will be times where that value will decrease based on stock market history. There's always crashes in the market, but as time will tell, and as history has spoken before, over time that value will increase and compound interest will be our best friend. So that is the first way I'm planning to gain my wealth. I've also not going to include any stock plays that I'm going to include in there. So anything like the SPAC plays that I do, so the plays that maybe return 15-20x of my investment, but again, these are riskier stocks, and so they aren't part of my whole plan. But again, for now, while I'm young, I can take a little bit of risk and invest in some stocks for the future, some EV companies for the future, and see what happens. But in my sort of overall plan of being able to retire and grow my wealth, it isn't part of it. So I'm going to leave that one out. But investing in the ETF, the S&P 500, is the way to go. Okay, so the second way I'm thinking about growing my wealth over a long period of time is through dividends. So dividend paying stocks. Now, it isn't the most sexiest way of making money. It's not going to give me the fastest growth and fastest amount of gains, but what I'm looking for is a monthly consistent payout, a passive income that gets paid to me each and every month that I could potentially, at this point in my life, continue to reinvest and add to that old thing, compound interest. But eventually, when I get to retirement age, I want to have a nice sum of money that comes in each and every month without me having to do absolutely anything, that gives me an amount of money that I could potentially live off of and pay some of those bills that I may have at that stage in my life. So dividends is a massive, massive step in that direction. So I've got a few dividend stocks that I've added to my portfolio, and I'm going to leave a list of the ones I've got in there at the moment. And my dividend stocks, I'm basically going to keep reviewing over a long period of time. Let's just take, for example, Coca-Cola is a stock that I believe will stand the test of time. Coca-Cola's been around for so long and they've been so consistent paying their dividend that this is a stock that's most likely going to be in that dividend portfolio for a very long time. I mean, Warren Buffett swears by Coca-Cola. It isn't sexy, there isn't massive growth, but it's a company that knows how to survive. It's been through multiple different crashes and periods in that time. It's a company that knows how to get through these times, and it's a dividend paying company that's been consistent for so long. So companies like that are going to be in that portfolio. I'm going to give you a list of some of those in there. There are some REITs in there as well. There's Apple, there's various different stocks in there. There's currently companies in there at the moment that have actually cut their dividend, but at some point I know they will hopefully reintroduce that dividend, so I'll continue to invest in them. So the second way, and the next way I'm going to be growing my wealth, is through dividend investing. Everyone needs that passive income, that £300, £400, £500 a month coming in to pay those bills. It is crucial. So that is the second way I'm thinking I'm going to be able to grow my wealth over a long period of time and have positive cash flow. Okay, so moving on to the third way I'm going to increase my wealth and grow those millions is actually, it's not even that sexy. It's very real world, but my job. As much as I want to be on here saying I'm going to have a multi-6 billion pound agency, business, e-com, dropshipping company, the truth is, at the moment, my main source of income is from my job, and that is still very, very important towards growing my wealth. As much as I can't get away from it, my job is my source of income, and so that money that's coming in is important, because what it's allowing me to do is allowing me to fund my portfolio, so the stocks, me to invest into the S&P 500 that we just talked about. There's no point talking about compound interest being our best friend if we can't contribute any money. So we need a source of income, and for 9/10 of people out there, your job is that source of income. And so it is got to be on that list, because I'm going to be using that money, saving as much as I can to invest into my portfolio, so invest into my stocks, but also invest into my dividend companies, and keep consistently investing into the portfolio and into other ventures that I'm going to mention. So it's really important that you actually still think about your job as a way of investing and a way of growing your wealth. You need a source of income, and a job is the best way to do that. It doesn't mean that someday you might move on and work self-employed or work for yourself, but at the stage that I am in my life, I have to be realistic and realise that my job is the number one source of income. Although I'm trying to change that, I have to be realistic. And like I said, all that money that I'm saving, that I'm putting away each month, that I'm putting into my rainy day funds, that I'm putting into a savings account, that I'm putting into my portfolio, it's all helping me towards my investment goals, towards me growing my wealth. So don't rule it out. It's important. Who says one day it might change? But your 9 to 5, your day job, is still very important to help you gain momentum in that investment world. So that's the third way. And hopefully over a period of time, over the next sort of 5 to 10 years, obviously that salary and the income that I bring from that job should increase as I get more experience, as I get more qualified, as I move up the levels in the job that I'm in, and obviously move jobs. That income should increase, and so with that allows me to save more, which allows me to invest more and help me get towards my goals even quicker. So by working hard at your jobs now, or maybe making a career change or asking for a pay rise and working towards a promotion, these are all things that are going to be helping your trading tool and portfolios. It's going to be helping you towards investing in other things. So don't rule it out, and that's the third one on my list. Okay, so fourth on my list is probably my most optimistic one, if I'm honest, and that is growing an online business or YouTube. So obviously there is lots of famous YouTubers out there and big YouTubers out there, like Graham Stephan, for example, who are raking in millions and millions of pounds each and every year through YouTube. And I'd be naive to the fact that hopefully one day I can get my channel to a similar position, maybe not in the millions, but as an extra source of income. It's not unrealistic, and that is something that I want to work towards. Being in this space and reading up on reading books like Rich Dad Poor Dad and all those kind of things, those books out there, they always talk about having multiple sources of income, and that is key. Because as much as I just spoke about how important my day job is, if I lose that day job, if there's redundancies, and it only takes a global pandemic to realise that your job isn't as safe as it could be, you have to realise that a second source of income is imperative and so important, and multiple sources of income. And that is how I'm going to grow that wealth over a long period of time. If I want to be that millionaire status, I have to have multiple sources of income, and that's what all successful business people, millionaires, have in common, is they have multiple sources of income. So one of those is a goal for me is YouTube. I'm hoping one day that I can obviously get monetized and grow that into a source of income that hopefully will allow me to kind of increase my amount of wealth and income that I have each and every month through that second source. But I know that I'm going to have to put a lot of work into it. I'm going to have to put a lot of editing and quality into the videos and really improve that. I'm not naive to the fact this isn't the finished product. I know where I want to be, and hopefully over the next couple of years I will get to where I want to be with that. But the second slash onto that as well, not just YouTube but an online business, I'm not naive to the fact that in any role, any job, there's always a ceiling. You know, there is nothing quite like owning your own business, being your own boss, and it really sort of removes that ceiling and makes it possible to really kind of increase your income exponentially. We always know that there's a salary cap in any role, in whether that's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds, there's always a cap. Now, to really progress and rake in potentially millions of pounds, you have to be either self-employed or own your own business. And so that's something that I have looked into and I'm thinking about exploring. Again, this isn't today, this isn't tomorrow. This could be 5, 6, 10 years down the line. Who knows what position I'll be in. But it's something that I have got on my list that I'm thinking about, and that one day, hopefully, I can work for myself and really increase that income. And again, once I can increase the income, I can invest more. When I invest more, compound interest does its thing and we earn more money. So that is tip number 4, growing a second passive income stream. Okay, and number 5, and I really can't make a wealth growing video without probably mentioning this, and that is property. Yeah, so a property is something that for years and years on end have been a way of people growing their wealth. We know that there's property tycoons out there who have literally grown their money by owning properties, residential properties, commercial buildings, all sorts of holiday lets potentially, to grow that income. And that is something that I have definitely researched and put a lot of time and effort into learning about, and it's something that I'm definitely hoping that I'll be able to get into over the next sort of 3 to 5 years and invest into property. So my aim is to buy a BTL, which is a buy-to-let, essentially a property where I obviously buy it with a mortgage or with cash, likely a mortgage, and then obviously rent that property out, then taking away the mortgage expenses and the insurance expenses and all that kind of stuff. Taking that away from the rental income gives you, hopefully, if I've done my maths correctly and I've got the right opportunity, hopefully a buy-to-let that's bringing in a couple of £100 each and every month of positive cash flow. And then that's obviously, with that positive cash flow, I'm aiming to kind of save that or reinvest it, and then you could either refinance a property, remortgage it, and pull out all your money and basically keep doing that process, buying more properties. Now, it's not a top subject that I'm totally skilled in or expert in. Please don't take any of my advice as financial advice across any of these topics, but especially property is something that I'm learning as we go. But I definitely see that as a way of increasing my value, my investments and my wealth. You only have to look at house prices from 30, 40 years ago to realise the growth that has seen from capital growth as well on the actual asset, on the actual property. And through personal circumstances in my own life, I have an opportunity to potentially renovate a property, renovate a flat, and then potentially sell that on for hopefully a substantial profit to allow me to invest into more properties. So watch this space with this one. Again, it's not happening today, it's not happening tomorrow, but property investment is definitely a way I want to increase my wealth and the way I'm going to be investing over a long period of time. Like I said, we have to have multiple sources of income. So let's get a property involved in there. Let's get some buy-to-lets in there. Let's get all that good stuff. Maybe a house flip to increase cash flow and cash liquidity and all that kind of stuff. So that is on my list. That is my 5th option, is property. And hopefully, with all those tips that I've shared, or the ways in which I'm planning to invest, it gives you a good idea of the diversification that I'm thinking about, in the different ways to know that I'm going to have to invest my money. I'm really putting the time and effort to learn about each and every area, because each and every area has its own requirements and its own skill set and its own knowledge. So it's really important to do your research, keep reading up, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. But ultimately, I know I just need to be patient. I know that all of these 5 things aren't going to happen overnight. They're not even going to happen in the next year. It's going to take 5, 10 years, decades even, to get to a point where I'm utilising all these 5 areas to increase my wealth and income. So patience is key. And so that's the message from today's video. So hopefully that has helped. If you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, if you think any of the points I've mentioned is wrong, or you've got your opinion, then leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts and anything that maybe I haven't thought about, that you guys are thinking about doing to increase your wealth, then that would be really appreciated. So leave a comment down below, leave a like as always, and if you're new and you want to subscribe, then please subscribe. That is all today, guys. I hope to see you guys soon, and I'll speak to you guys later. Bye.